To run and save reports within KulaHub. Starting from the dashboard, the first and I find the most important thing about reporting is knowing where to go in the system to start your report depending on the outcome you're after. For example, you could go to contacts and categories. If you wanted a report just based around active clients, you could go to the contacts in this category and start the report from this page. Alternatively, if you wanted to run a report around a specific process that you manage in the system, such as inquiries, you'd come into forms, standard forms, and go to the number of contacts that sit within that standard form type. You also have access to default starting points in other reports, such as all contacts, notes, tasks, organisations, etc., etc. So what you're wanting to filter on really will determine where in the system you go to run the physical report itself. In this instance, I'm just going to go into all contacts. And from here, the functionality works exactly the same regardless of where you're reporting from. So on each of the screens, you get a grid of data that exists within that list you're viewing. At any point at the bottom right, you can see the total number of contacts that exist within that list. The columns in the grid work very similar to Excel, so I can drag these and move them around within the grid itself. I can also change the size of them so that I can fit more on one page if necessary. The majority of the filtering tools and the report itself works through the three dots at the top of each column. You can sort that particular column you're viewing by ascending or descending, and you'll also get access to the columns list from here. If I wanted to report off a postcode radius, for example, I could tick postcode into the grid, as well as any other fields, dependent on where I'm starting the report from. So if I'm reporting on form data, this would contain my form fields. Once you've got the relevant columns in that you like, it's important to remember you always click on the three dots to the top right of the column heading that you wish to filter on, as that's how the system knows what data you're actually looking at. So in this case, I'm reporting on postcode. I can drop down to filter. The drop down in the top of this section will change depending on the type of field. For example, if you're reporting on dates, you'll get is in between options and is higher and is less. For money or number values, you'll get is greater and is lower. In this instance, I'm going to go with starts with, and I'm just going to look at data where the postcode starts with HD. Click filter, and the system has worked through the data to pull up this criteria for me. I could then run any secondary filters that I'd like, so the first name, for example, is equal to Hazel, and keep going until I'm happy with the selection that I've made. From here, to save the report, give it a name up at the top, so HG Contacts, for example, and hit Save as New Report. I can overwrite this report at any point by hitting Save, or create a copy by clicking Save as New. I can also make my report admin only, and down at the bottom of the page, now this report has been saved, I can move the contacts in this grid to or from a category really easily, as well as being able to bulk assign account managers and run a mail merge. You've also got the option to filter by categories at any point if you're not in one of the category-based reporting points. All of these pieces of functionality will be available across the system, and once you have saved a report, it will update automatically as the data changes within your account.